Okay. I know it's messy in here. That's a mattress down there. We had some guests and they left, so I'm cleaning the place, and it's just shit everywhere. So that's not, I don't normally do that. Okay, so next in the group, Abigail says one of the hardest things about rebuilding yourself after the narcissist is the self-doubt and the ping-pong of emotions of wanting to make it work and realizing it probably won't work. Okay, yeah. Wanting it to work because you feel the narcissist a lot of times will have you feel obligated to stick with them because they've set you up in such a position to be responsible for their emotions, and that if you abandon them, you're abandoning this poor innocent person who just doesn't have anybody and needs your help, and how dare you, and how could you be so cruel, and blah blah blah. And then but there's a part of you that is like awakening to that and realizing that that's horse shit, and that part of you says, nah, we could be doing something better with our time. And those two parts are going to fight. The part of you that feels obligated and the part of you that wants to get the hell out. So that makes a lot of sense. That's exactly what happens, because that's how they do. The narcissist will have you hooked in that way, and they teach you that you're no good and you're cruel if you let them slip away or whatever. And the real truth is they're using the guilt to keep you there, and you cannot be held back by that anymore. You just can't. You have your own life to live, and there's just no way that you can sit there with yourself and say, you know what, yeah, I'm trying to do the right thing, and shit like that. That's really, this modern world really has people thinking that they have to do so much obligatory shit and so much shit in order to demonstrate that they're gonna, be the wiser one, be the more noble, and be the more mature one, and do the right thing, and do what's right, and have compassion, and blah blah blah. But there's a point at which you have to draw the line and say, okay, you know what, I can't fix you. I just can't do anything more for this. I've done all I can. I've given you all I could. I have to move on. And we're taught, and women especially are taught that that's selfish. I'm sorry, that's really loud. Sorry. And women especially are taught that abandoning somebody like that, emotionally is selfish, and how dare we, and shit like that. But we can't just play nursemaid to every single person's emotions 24/7. We still do it anyway. But we can't really be doing that, and that's just no way to live. And because you're taking care of everybody but yourself, and you can't be your best, and you can't go to your next level and live the way you're supposed to be living, and be the best that you can be if you're still worried about hurting somebody's damn feelings. Just can't do it. There's times when I have to put people in their place and remind them of what's going on, and remind them who's doing what, and I'm the damn life coach, and I still have to do it. Don't think I don't. It shit happens. You have to set your boundaries no matter what, and everybody deserves to have that, and especially people who have been bamboozled and hoodwinked by a narcissist, and have been told, that well, we could have this life, you could have this, you could have, so much, you could be doing blah blah blah. Don't you want to live your fantasy? Don't you want to have an everlasting love? Don't you want all this attention? Don't you want this money? Don't you want this house? How dare you give all this up just because blah blah blah. But sometimes you just have to, and they have you thinking that if you do try to give it up, or do try to walk away, that you're never going to have it again. And you'll get that from a lot of men, but especially the narcissistic ones, that they do that, but just at a more extreme degree. Most women in the world have heard at least once. You already know what I'm going to say, don't you? You already know it. Well, nobody's ever going to love you the way I have. Or You know I loved you better than the rest of them ever did. And I've heard that from mouths I didn't think I'd hear it from. And let me tell you, that doesn't go away. That does not go away. It doesn't change. They don't, so there's always going to be somebody that deals that card, but it really doesn't mean anything anymore. And they play on our fears to try to use that and try to keep us around. But I think in this day and age, we don't need them, and we don't need to hear that. So when the narcissist especially tries to play that with us, it gets, the more that you realize that they've built a fantasy life and a fantasy world around what you thought you wanted from them, really all they've done is dig down and find out your deepest desires and your needs and things like that. And they have promised to deliver. And they have promised you that you're going to get all of that and more. And you're going to have everything you need, and nobody else is going to be able to do it for you. So, let's just stick together. And I had one that I tried to break up with several times, and every time I did, he talked me out of it. And I stuck around, and that went on for a long time. And then finally one day I just said, you know what, I can't deal with you anymore. I said, I can't handle you. And he said, no, yes you can. Yes you can handle me. Yes you can. I said, no, I don't think you understand. I can't handle you. I said, you're too goddamn crazy. You're just too motherfucking goddamn crazy. But, I mean, in short, I said I can go into detail if you want, but you're too fucking crazy for me. Because I think I'm nuts, but now I'm in your world, and I'm realizing you're the crazy. So, but once you see all the fallacies and all the fantastical made up shit, that's supposed to be their life and their world, and you see how they have built, a bunch of nothingness around you, and you could fulfill your own life or find somebody else that can do their job so much faster than just sticking around with them. That part of you eventually is going to have to win. That part of you that knows better, that part's going to win in the end, because you can't stick with that forever, because that's going to get worse and worse. And you're right, it is like a ping pong. It is. Because they dangle in front of you the shit that you want, but your understanding of yourself is going to deepen as time goes by, especially with this person and the things that they confront you with. That's not going to mean anything anymore, and you're going to look for something deeper and more meaningful. And their little shit that they're dangling in front of you, is not going to keep you around anymore. But that's exactly, going back and forth like that, it is hard. It definitely is. Because like I say, they have you thinking that, you're going to be guilty of abandoning, somebody so innocent and whatever. I mean, their inner child is innocent, but because they're letting their inner child wreak havoc on people, that does not make them faultless, and it does not make them, quote unquote, the innocent party. It doesn't. Because they're using the inner child to just damage everybody that crosses their path. And they just leave chaos and demise in their wake, and that's that person. And to top it off, they really don't think that they need help. Like, they tell themselves that they're perfect. Whether they believe that is different. On the surface, they probably do. But, like, deep down beneath it all, they hate themselves just as much, if not more, than most people who do hate themselves would feel. The narcissist has reached a particular level and a particular degree of self-hatred to the point where their way of compensating for it and the way of making up for it is so extreme, and it would just blow your mind. Once you look back and see like all the shit they did to fool you and bamboozle you, you'll be shocked that you fell for it. Because we all are. I know I was like, damn, how did I let that slide? But they pick on somebody who either has low self-esteem or may look that way or is humble maybe, and they play on that. They use that as their foundation, and then after that, you're just a playground to them, and they can really knock your legs out from under you. But that part is difficult. But like I say, the part of you that is realizing it probably won't work, yeah, that part's going to win. Because eventually you'll just leave and say, you know what, this is bullshit. I'm just going to do better for myself. And it has to happen. It happens naturally on its own, but it's going to happen. You know, it's like getting older. It's going to happen. So, and you can fight it or not, you know, like, but it's okay to realize that. It's okay to see that, because that is you understanding yourself on a deeper level, and understanding what you want and what you need from life and from a partner. And, it's you understanding why you're doing things, why you're letting things happen, why you're letting things people treat you the way they treat you. And you once you go through that doorway and you learn all that stuff, you know, and you notice things about yourself, you can change your patterns, you can change your mindset, you can soothe your inner child, and all of those things. So the narcissist, like I say, as much of a pain in the ass as they are, and they really are, they bring out things in us that we have to, you know, that we have to really look at. And I hate to say it, you know, it takes all types to make the world go around, because it's a hell of a way to do it. But you know, shit does happen. But looking back, I'm even though it was awful, I'm glad it all happened, because I wouldn't be where I am now if I hadn't been dragged through shite. I wouldn't know any of this stuff now. So it's like, you know, it was meant to be. It was just it was a hell of a way to go about it, but that's what it takes. And that ping pong back and forth, yeah. And that's the opportunity presenting itself to you, where you can make the decision to, you know, try to make it work, or accept that it won't. And that's why I did that video, accepting your situation with a narcissist, because that is really liberating. Once you accept that that person has absolutely hoodwinked you and absolutely lied to you in so many ways, and you accept that the reality is that, you know, you were fooled, you were made to look stupid, shit happens. But that doesn't mean it's the end of it. It just means, you know, you have to change how you look at it, and start thinking logically about it, and remove yourself emotionally. And once you start doing that, you really have the upper hand. You really have the upper hand, because they're playing on your emotions being, they're counting on you being frazzled and desperate, especially desperate. They love that desperation, because all they see is, that's like seeing dollar signs for them, you know, like they eat that up, because all they can think is, oh yeah, okay, so this is great. Desperation, perfect. I'm, you know, the crown is on my head now. I'm gonna do what I want. And they use it against you in ways you would have never imagined. And so if you're no longer desperate, that shuts down their whole plan, shuts down the whole agenda. So yeah, the ping pong part, that part is difficult, but eventually it's going to put you in the right direction, and that problem will go away, and then you can start to unplug, you know, from the situation at hand. But yeah, I know how that feels. Like, they get the best of us. They really do. I swear, like, they get all of us. But I hope that you know, clears that up. And I definitely agree with you on that. You're right. But with that ping pong comes a lot of self-awareness, and your intuition really kicks in, and putting yourself first kicks in, and making yourself a priority, and realizing what your boundaries are. Is what you get after that point, realizing what your boundaries are, and what you'll accept and what you won't accept from people. And in the end, you know, you can say, well, you know, that person was a pain in the ass, but at least now I know what I'm going to stand for and what I'm not going to stand for. So in a roundabout way, I hate to say it, I sure hate to give them credit, but you know what I mean? So but yeah, I know how you feel. It makes sense. So I hope that helps, and I hope that you know, can give you the push you need if you need it. And I'm glad to have you in the group. I think you're one of my newer girls. We got a good group in there, so I'm glad to have you. And everybody's activity in there and responses has been really good. And I'm proud of everybody that's been in there so far. Everyone's been learning and transforming and growing, and that's what I like to see. So. You all know where to find me if you want to go deeper. You know where I am. And that was a good one, so thank you for that. Thanks for listening.